look at these. Wait, I gotta show you something. This is some.
Whoa!
This is some Tony Viento.
Who's that?
Okay.
I'm gonna guess more and
no.
Whoa.
As
an heiress.
no, it's Lucian.
Ooh.
The two men.
Who's the girl?
Who they're both in. Come on. They're both in love.
She can't. No, she's a baby.
She's not. She's 25.
She's a baby. I can't look at the baby.
Just like look at his thumb though in his mouth.
Well, yeah, that means they're all kissing.
Yeah. No?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm into it.
That Tony Viento, man.
Yeah, Tony Viento.
I also just gotta again. I've already shouted them out, but Listening Stars is doing a full graphic novel in their Patreon. Look at how gorgeous this is.
That's awesome.
They're right up until.
Oh my God. How sexy does it get?
Well, they're only up to the Call in My Night.
Ooh.
But their goal is to do all 5 books.
Dude, that's awesome. What is the name of this person's work?
Listening Stars.
Listening Stars. Look up their Patreon.
They also
Good gravy.
They make I think I already talked about. They make the transparent, not like translucent sleeves that are page inserts in the book. So they like not half, like a 10th of these they like print out and you can put them in your book.
Whoa, I want that.
Well, so maybe somebody will get something for old Solstice this year.
Whoa, Solstice present.
Like,
and then
look,
we'll all drink Fey wine.
Damn, game.
Whoa. Although that's not... I saw more Beast than Man when Tamlin came as Beast, but I'm with it.
That's because you're a monster fucker.
I'm a monster fucker. Get used to it.
Look, he took his shirt off.
Oh my God, yes, rippling muscles.
So yeah.
Okay, I could kiss it.
I know. They do a great job. They make Tamlin appealing in all of this.
I know, for now. Well, you have to be appealed at first.
You do. You can't be like, oh, you're such a man-child.
I mean, I do feel differently now.
Male-child?
Male
Such a
child.
male
Yeah,
child.
please. Now that my mom knows that I'm a monster fucker, I feel like everything's
God.
off the table, you know? Like, I feel like, who am I? I'm 24601, right, guys? Come on, Les Mis, give it up.
What? Does your mom know that because she listens to this?
She came to see the Release the Butthole Cut tour, and I do talk about being a monster fucker in it. Right. And at one point I went, Mommy, I'm a monster fucker. And then I was like, Holden, don't get hard at that.
Ew.
Holden's got
all
a
of
mommy
that's
thing.
horrible.
He's got a mommy thing.
Okay.
Not that we kink shame here.
I'll shame some kinks. Where
All right, well, now I'm going to start looking at Listening Stars.
Listening Stars, and also Acrylopix is doing really beautiful inserts for your books, and they kind of collaborate in that they don't cross the same page, which is really
cool. They don't
cool.
cross the streams?
They don't cross streams.
Hell yeah.
Acrylopix. I am waiting
like Skrillex?
patiently. I think it's like acrylic.
Grrr, grrr, grrr. Is that what Skrillex sounds like?
Kind of dubstep.
Yeah, right? I'm young.
Remember everyone? That's very old.
Well, I just remember a time when I thought I was too old for it, and I think that's what it was. But I think I was just a hipster in Brooklyn, New York, and just thought that I was above things.
Maybe. That's quite possible. So, yeah, I just that wasn't an ad. I just like to shout out one again.
Thank you.
So, we are back in Valaris. And we are at the river home.
Oh my God, the beautiful river estate. Do you think that they've got like a boat up bar?
I just assume they have all the things that are fun.
I just think of the boat up bar in Jacksonville that I used to go to with my ex called Whitey's Fish Camp.
Ugh.
Very inclusive.
Wait, whitey? I thought you were saying wide-y.
No. Although they were wide.
Yeah? Over in Jacksonville?
Yeah, I'm giving shit to Jacksonville. As a Floridian, I'm allowed to give shit towards Jacksonville.
I think that's fair.
Thank you.
So Nesta's just been informed. We just came back to this interfrention where she is been informed she's to go train with Cassian.
And she's like, no, that's the worst, even though he's so hot.
Oh, man. Oh, damn it.
Learn to use my powers with this really hot guy.
In this mansion on a mountainside.
Oh, and I don't have to pay for anything. Oh.
But no, she doesn't. She's not happy. She says, what? But Feyre's got her queen hat on and lays it to her straight, which I guess is a crown. A queen hat is a crown.
Yeah, I think yes.
No more apartment. No more wolf's den. She is moving to the House of Wind, and she will be training in Windhaven, the Illyrian camp where we often visit in the stories, the one that Rhys, Kaz, and Azriel grew up in. I can't wait to see how the graphic novel does the camps. I can't wait to see it.
I think that it'll be very scary and upsetting.
I'm excited.
But I think it'll be fun. Now, I do think a queen's hat is different than a crown because I don't think Feyre would be just lounging about. Because remember at this time, I don't know why I specifically remember she's on leggings and an oversized, like, beige white shirt sweater. Yes. With casual Feyre over here with a little bit of spressed. And, what would your queen's hat be? Do you think she's rocking a beret?
I was saying more in the not metaphorical.
Theoretical.
Is it theoretical?
Yes.
You know, like, oh, I've got my boss hat on.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe you could wear other hats.
Oh, maybe. Like a little pillbox.
I mean, you've got the space for it. You could have a whole shattery. What is it? It's a shabance. Where do you go? Haberdashery. Haberdashery. Haberdashery.
Is that real?
Is that where you go to get my hats made?
You're asking the wrong hatless woman.
Well, it could be.
I don't think no.
It's not. It's a place where you go for small items used in sewing.
Okay.
I worked at Joanne Fabrics. You think I'd know these words?
Nope. That's all useful information's gone. Furthermore, she will.
They've got hats.
Do you want to find out what it's called? Will you be able to rest until...
Haberdashery. I'm going to let it go.
Okay. Haberdashery. Furthermore, Nesta will be working in the library under the House of Wind, its troubled sister camp industry. Cassian's watching this interaction play out, and he feels guilt about his slight fear that Nesta would lash out at Feyre with her scary power that none of them understand. But he notes that at the same time, that Rhys has been practicing these impenetrable shields with Helion, and there's one over Feyre at the moment, which she says she's been tasked with trying to break for Rhys's experiments.
Thank God that she knows about it, because what if he started putting those around her and, like, not telling her? I'd be so pissed off. I'd be like, don't you put me in that bubble.
I don't think that would be very healthy expression of love.
No, of protection. I also would really not be good in a bubble.
What would you do?
I feel. Did you ever see Boy in the Bubble?
Yes.
Like, I think I'd just get so bored so fast.
Wait, Boy in the Bubble or Bubble Boy? Because those are very different.
Boy in the Bubble.
Bubble Boy.
Oh, Bubble Boy also very different, yeah. That one I also don't think I could handle either.
Where you had to just roll around in a plastic.
Yeah, like a big old hamster.
Man, I had a crush on Jake Gyllenhaal then.
Oh, yeah, man. Donnie, were you a Donnie Darko? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mad World. I used to listen to that really loud in my room and be like, nobody understands me.
It's like so like art.
It's like time travel. Like you wouldn't get it. I don't know if you would get it.
It's kind of confusing, and I'm pretty sure I get it, but you wouldn't.
And it's like wormholes. Like you wouldn't get it.
Wormholes. It's wormholes.
I think I specifically told my mother, like, you wouldn't understand this when I was watching it. I was 100% that
I
age.
think that what that movie is for teenagers to yell at their parents, you don't understand this.
Yes.
That is the point of that movie.
I still yell that towards my mom.
Yeah. No, it's fun.
I'm doing fine mentally.
Oh, yeah, we're great. We're doing great over here. But he notes that Rhys is,
I feel like at Troubled Sister Camp, you have sex with the camp counselors, right?
We'll see.
Or we can only hope.
We're going to find out. And then Cassian again feels shame for questioning if Nesta would really stoop so low as to attack her sister. But this is why they're at this point. This is when you get into this situation because you don't know where they are mentally anymore.
Well, she also can't control it yet, so you never know if her anger and her ire will just come out as something because they have no idea what she's got inside of her.
It's true, and she is on a mission of self-destruction, and those who are at that place often strike out to convince everyone they are as bad as everyone fears.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, I just got my therapist cap on.
Yeah, man, I felt seen. Thank you for making me valid, Natalie.
I try to validate you every day. That's all I want to do.
Aw, sisters.
Yeah. She doesn't do anything, though. She doesn't lash out. Instead, she just says, hell to the no. I am not doing any of that. Well, Amren says it's too late. Nesta learns that while this ambush is happening, Elaine has been absent because she's currently packing up Nesta's belongings and moving them to the mountain.
Damn.
Cassian notes that he sees a flicker of worry in Amren's eyes, and it affects him because of how rare it is for her to express any emotion in that way. She's like that worried about Nesta.
I do also wonder, though, like, I wonder if that's also part of her, like, fey-manity shining through, too. You know what I mean? Like, of just like
you mean fey-mality?
Fey-mality, yes. But then that really loses the word. The fey-mality of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that's like part of her also like experiencing like starting to. I don't know if that's what she meant with it, but
maybe
that's what I took from it.
Oh, maybe she's gonna learn to love. Wow. But you know, that she would show this on her face lets us know that Amren still cares for Nesta. She's not completely written her off.
Yeah.
Again, Nesta fights back, stating they can't control her since she's not a member of this court. But Amren slaps that down too. She tells her since she never officially stepped down from the role of human emissary, there's some rule in some book somewhere that says, in fact, she is under Rhys's jurisdiction. She floats a book over to her and goes, feel free to look if you want.
Ugh, that's such a, like, bitch, please moment. I wish I could levitate a book over and be like, see?
Yeah. Please. It's the only power I want is to just be sarcastic and rude. So as this is going on, Cassian returns in his memories to the morning when the High Lord and Lady did, in fact, come across Nesta's bill, because if you'll recall, Nesta was like, is this because I spent so much money the other night or last night? And Cassian does in fact reminisce about that morning the bill came in and it was so egregious and telling that Feyre had silently cried as Rhys read aloud each charge on the bill.
Maybe she's picking up drinks for everybody at the bar.
But she's also accruing gambling debts and like all this other stuff. She's clearly doing it to me, I read it as like she's doing it as a fuck you.
Oh,
Put on whatever you want. Yeah, get whatever you want on this.
Yes, just to like slap them in the face.
Yeah. So that's when they made this plan.
This really is the part where I'm just like, let her go be a fuck up then. Why are you trying so hard? I understand family tries this hard, but there's also part of me that's like, I mean, I feel like lots of other people are just left to go fuck up and go figure it out.
Well, I think that is always the challenge of finding that line in the sand when you have somebody who's like destructive and self-destructive and going like, when is this? I think this is kind of the ultimatum. So
yes, it's this or none,
or you're out.
Yeah.
Cassian thinks about how grateful he is to have Feyre here, and it really pains him that he saw her weeping this morning, and how she's the only one who, you know, beyond being his high lady, she was the one who saved Rhys from under the mountain, and it means, you know, a great deal to not see her in pain. Amren continues that Nesta has the two options. One is that she agrees to go live up at the House of Wind, that she is not a captive there, but she will need to be able to descend the 10,000 stairs to get to the city, which technically speaking, you are a prisoner.
I mean, but there are stairs, bitch. You want to go? You can go down them stairs.
So, you know.
How long would it take? What's 10,000? I can't, like, I'm bad at visualizing. Is that just a general, broad thing, sad thing to say? Like, what is 10,000 stairs in your brain? Like, how big is it?
So, okay. Interestingly, when I went to the Paris catacombs, I think last year, the way you get down is a big spiral that goes down and down and down into the dark.
Okay.
And it felt like it was forever. And I feel like it was probably only like 200 steps or something.
Whoa.
And it was a lot. So, like, I feel like 10,000 would be like a couple hours. Like, I think it would take a long time.
Yeah. I think I want to start. Am I going to start counting my steps? What am I, a pedometer?
Like, if you took one step per 2 seconds, how long is 20,000 seconds?
Oh, don't. No, I haven't.
You
had
did
a
it.
sip
You
of
asked
coffee.
me to do math.
I have had a sip of coffee, Natalie.
You asked me to do math, and I can't do it.
We're too pretty to do math.
All right, I'm going to look it
Not
up.
in the Fae word. There's no math in the Fae word. I mean, they don't talk about math very often in the Fae world, so really...
How long is 20,000 seconds? Just tell me the answer. No. Oh. Right at the top. Okay, so 20,000 seconds is equal to about 5.5 hours.
Dang.
So...
Maybe it's almost 525,600 seconds. Second musical reference in one
I know,
episode.
you're really
I'm
on a
sorry.
roll.
I'm sorry. This is where my brain's at today.
Okay, so I don't know. Does it take 2 seconds to walk down a step?
Yeah.
It's gonna be at least a few hours. Okay.
Well, especially because if like they're like big, like gutted out of stone steps.
Yeah. Right.
Sorry, this is something I thought about while rereading, so I didn't mean to make this a
No,
whole
I
thing.
also think I agree.
I just realized like I couldn't visualize what 10,000 steps was.
But can you imagine spinning in circles like that for hours?
Oh my God, we went to the top of some column. I think we were in Astoria in Oregon. We went to like this like big open column thing that you walk up a very tight spiral staircase up to the top. And then I got off the top and I was terrified and I was so dizzy. And like those like really tight turns.
How many steps do you think that was?
Oh my God, probably like it took a while. So I guess I would assume if you're talking about the catacombs like that, then I would assume probably 150 steps.
Interesting. And then, yeah. And so if she was doing that and had to come back up, she would have to also ascend for 5 hours.
10,000 steps, yes.
So, yeah, I guess she could, but also I feel as though, I guess in Fae health, it would be different. Humans probably would have a really difficult time doing it.
I mean, I have 16 stairs leading up to the front of my townhouse, and I'm just like, the groceries. Where's Jeff?
Well, I guess you would never make it down for the drink.
No, I wouldn't.
So
I'd be
anyway.
like, is there a bar on the way down?
But anyway, she says that Nesta can leave and she can drink if she can, quote, find 2 coppers to rub together. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, she agrees to live up there at the House of Wind, real celebrity rehab. Her other option is to be dropped off in the human lands and be free to live her life how she chooses. This is probably not an appealing option to Nesta and also probably not very safe. Because she can't hide her faeness anymore, and with the wall down, the humans are probably a little terrified if a random high fae is just bumbling around.
Yeah.
This may seem a little unfair, but there are a few options when it becomes a life and death situation with a grown adult, you know? Sometimes you have to, like...
Yeah, make an ultimatum.
Yep.
Nesta turned to Feyre, lips pulling back from her teeth.
And these are my only options.
Yeah, bitch.
Feyre struggles to find the balance between High Lady and a worried sister.
That's why you need a queen's hat.
She had a
See,
queen's
this
hat.
is why you take, and then you literally take it off.
Take your sister hat off. And you put your queen hat
I have
on.
been talking to Henry that I think I might actually get him a brother hat and a boss hat because usually I make him pretend to take off his boss hat and put on his brother hat if we're having different conversations.
Poor Henry.
One man, 1 million women. That's what Henry sings to himself.
So, so she asks, and Feyre, Feyre wants to be gentle with her sister, but also she knows she has to be in this position. So she tells her bluntly, yes, there are but 2 paths. Nesta lashes out, as wounded animals tend to do. It's Feyre's fault that she's even here, and she didn't ask to be here in this body. And while probably everyone understands she doesn't really mean that, it's a painful thing to hear, and of course it's not Feyre's fault. That's enough.
Feyre breathed. Nesta blinked. Feyre swallowed, but didn't balk.
That is enough. You're moving up to the house. You're going to train and work, and I don't care what vitriol you spew my way. You're doing it. Nesta continues to attack, trying to rationalize why she can't do it, but it's falling on deaf ears. Cassian attempts to lighten the room. I promise not to bite.
I mean, you ain't got to promise that. Nesta's upper lip curled back as she faced him.
I suppose this was your idea. It was.
He lied with a grin.
We're going to have a wonderful time together. Backed into a corner.
Yeah. I just can feel like the Mulan playing the somehow I'll make a man out of you.
Wow, you're really going for.
I'm gonna sing Songy Mood today, guys. You know,
good for you.
When the spirit moves, you know, how do I not let the lyrics fly from thine lips?
I would never stop you.
Thank you.
Backed into a corner, Nesta demands to speak to Feyre alone. Rhys looks genuinely concerned at this idea, and Cassian both resents and understands the fear of threat to his mate. Rhys agrees to wait outside the door of the room they're in and leads the others out to the hallway. They can't actually hear the convo, though, as the room's been warded against spies. As they wait, Cassian inquires about the law that Amryn found that holds Nesta loyal to the Night Court. She's like, there's no law. I was
just saying, like, whatever, which is what you're not supposed to do during an intervention. Don't lie, because then, you know, it hurts the trust between people. Did you ever watch
smart.
Intervention?
Sometimes I get into a phase, but then I get really sad and watching it, and then I don't want to watch it anymore.
I went through a huge time. I went back and forth that whenever I couldn't handle Intervention anymore, I would start watching My Strange Addiction, and then
I can't watch that.
Eating glass.
I think I can't watch it because I went to high school with one of the people on the show.
Whoa! So I knew someone on My Super Sweet 16, and you knew someone on My Strange Addiction.
Yeah.
Was it the one with the guy that was in love with all of the inflatable animals?
No, somebody you actually also coincidentally know separately.
Ooh, I'm so intrigued.
You don't know?
No. Do they eat glass?
No, we can't reveal, but no.
Oh. But the My Super Sweet 16, I mean, I think about it too. I can't watch the show, though.
Do you know the how shook I was when you kind of recently told me that fact about yourself, that you were at the party?
Yeah. And now, but then, like, now this girl is also on another show about how connected she is to her mother.
So crazy.
The Extreme Mothers, like Extreme Sisters, I've been watching. It's man, I know we're like sisters, but I wouldn't call us extreme.
No. We spend a lot of time apart from each other.
Yes, and we don't like bathe in each other's bathwater or anything.
All right.
I'm saying we don't. I want everybody to know.
I want everyone to know that, just so we're clear.
I never like put her dirty socks on my hands and go, oh, she's closer to me.
Well, I'm glad to know that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so Amryn just bluffed in that moment. Then we're back in the room with Nesta and Feyre. Nesta is pulling out every form of guilt she can try to twist Feyre's arm. You didn't care until now. What are you getting out of this? As she's verbally attacking Feyre, she's running through her mind things that have led up to this moment and how she has no idea how to express the terrors that live inside her head every waking moment. How she still wakes up thinking of the moment that they found out the cauldron had stolen Elaine away from the camp, and that caring that deeply for her had made her push away from Elaine. So Nesta, like, again, we have these glimpses that she cares so much that she's too scared to even connect to people.
It's times like this that I am so happy that we're finally inside of her brain to learn a little bit more, because she is lashing out like an animal right now. And it's so hard to remember, like, you know, the dichotomy of how someone is reacting in a stressful situation versus what's going on inside of their brain.
Totally.
And I think that, like, it does, she's fleshed out so beautifully in this scene where, like, she's terrified, but she doesn't know how to say it.
Yeah. And it's much more interesting to read about a flawed person who can maybe achieve redemption and from a dark place, you know?
Yeah.
So her thoughts go to the fight she and Cassian had, how he challenged her back at the old solstice that we read about in the last book. When he told her to go somewhere else if she hated it here so much. But she bit back her retort at the time, which was the truth, that she had no place else to go.
Yeah, dude.
She never felt at home amongst humans, even before Feyre shot a fairy in the forest those many months ago. But she laments in her thoughts about how she doesn't really feel at home here in the Fey realm either. Doesn't know if she belongs anywhere. But she can't expose herself to her sister in that way, so she lashes out again. It's not like I was spending your money anyway. It's your mate's money. And I'm surprised you even noticed what I spent since you're so busy building houses and shopping.
I mean, I get her anger, you know? Like, I mean, I understand because she can't talk about it yet. I get that, like, watching your sister, like, be so in love and building a river house and, like, look at how happy their family is. That just, like, actually turns your sadness into even more anger as you watch it.
Yeah, and self-loathing, too.
Yes.
Because at the end, she knows in her heart that Feyre was trying to include her in all of this. Like, wanted her to be a part of it.
Your painting could be up on the wall, bitch.
Could be. So, yeah, Nesta is being rude. More like Mesta. Am I right?
Yeah, Nelly. Yeah, get it, bitch. Mesta, you a mess.
Damn! She said Mesta!
Did you hear it in the back?
Okay, here we go. When Feyre reminds her that she invited her to live in this house.
Yeah.
Nesta snaps that there's no reason she would want to live in this house. In her mind, she curses herself for ever a moment considering the idea that she and Feyre could become closer. Curses herself for standing in that circle hand to hand with the others before that final battle. But this is really about how she feels about herself. A failure.
Ugh.
Not even able to help with this mighty well of power. Feyre makes another attempt at pure vulnerability. You're my sister, Nesta. Yes, and you're always sacrificing for us, your sad little human family. You spent 500 gold marks last night.
Feyre exploded, shooting to her feet to pace in front of the hearth.
Do you know how much money that is? Do you know how embarrassed I was when I got the bill this morning and my friends, my family, had to hear about all of it?
Nesta hated that word. The term Feyre used to describe her court. As if things had been so miserable with the Archeron family that Feyre had needed to find another one, had chosen her own. Nesta's nails bit into her palms, the pain overriding that of her tightening chest.
I mean, it was pretty bad, Nesta. You made her hunt in the forest for you.
Yeah, the youngest one that like never learned how to read, that was never taken care of, the one that you forced out into the cold to work for you. Yeah, she found a different family. And that also doesn't mean, but here's the thing, as someone that has a chosen family as well as a family, I consider them all my family. Just just because you're not a part of the friend family doesn't mean we're not still family.
Right, of course.
Because Natalie, we were family before you became my sister. We were family before.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh.
I'm sorry I
Don't
touched
do
you.
this to me. No, I agree. But yeah, she's lashing out. She accuses Feyre of only caring about sparing her reputation. And Feyre lobbies back that, yeah, maybe she is partly because if the High Lord and Lady can't manage their own out-of-control family, how can they rule with a Roger Clinton out here running these streets?
Whoa, get it. Get the Clintons out of here.
Get all the Clintons out of here. Get out of here, Clintons.
Yeah.
And then we get a real truth from the deepest part of Nesta's mind. I am not a thing to be controlled by you,
Nesta said icily. Everything in her life, from the moment she was born, had been controlled by other people. Things happened to her. Anytime she tried to exert control, she'd been thwarted at every turn. And she hated that even more than the King of Highburn.
So this is everything's from your childhood, isn't it? This is her realizing, I guess us realizing with her that so much about all of her rage and pain is about having no control over her life, feeling like she was a puppet.
Yes, and I do wonder, like, a little bit about what we were talking about last time with her mother, and, like, knowing that Nesta was her mother's doll. I do wonder, too, that, like, maybe she was told by her parents not to help out her siblings because she was the chosen one, because she was it seemed like she was the one that she was icily turning into a lady of sorts to be the icy matron of a family.
Yeah.
And I do wonder if, like, she's like, no, you're not gonna hunt. No, that's their job. This isn't for you.
Like, sort of inserted that thought, but especially because we know from Feyre's POV that her mother on their deathbed said Feyre must take care of the family.
Right.
It was like, I think 8 or something. You're like, okay.
Great. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know that this is I'm just like assuming here, but like I do wonder the part of this like always being controlled thing.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like either like to Feyre and to Elaine that the parents were non-existent completely.
Yeah.
But Nesta might have been overruled by mommy.
Yeah, I think a lot more than anything, it was a controlling mom-daughter situation. So this is like this fear of her being out of control. Feyre is trying to implore to Nesta, like to hear her, that this is about helping Nesta be the master of herself. But Nesta is still refusing. But no. Oh, you are going, Nesta.
Going.
When Feyre tells her she will be working with Clotho in the library, whether she likes it or not, Nesta has a wave of fear run through her because, if you'll recall, the only time she's been in the library, I think the only time I can think of, is the time that the twin ravens, one white and one black, showed up and tried to take her away. And then she had to run into that pit at the bottom where the monsters live. So, I would give it a pause.
The monster that just wants a window.
Just wants a window.
He doesn't want much.
It seems surprising that Feyre wouldn't realize or acknowledge that. Nesta's been like deeply traumatized in that building, but maybe she's trying to get Nesta to face her fears finally. Nesta is nothing but pure rage in this moment. It's a wonder her power didn't surface.
Yeah.
When she challenges Feyre for violating her privacy by taking her things, Feyre informs her that she's having the whole building razed to the ground to put up a shelter for families still displaced by the battle with Hybern, which is one way to get somebody to leave an apartment. You just tear the building down.
Yeah, tear the building down. Then she's gotten really nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Nesta tried to master her uneven breathing, one of the few choices she'd made for herself. Stripped away. Feyre didn't seem to care. Feyre had always been her own master, always got whatever she wished. And now, it seemed, Feyre would be granted this wish too. Nesta seethed.
I never want to speak to you again.
Yeah, I bet it was Feyre's 8-year-old wish to go out and have to take care of her family for many years.
Yes.
Yeah, I bet you're right. She does. Oh, this spoiled bitch.
Yeah, she's very spoiled.
Yeah, just like had like the one little pot of paint. Yeah, this man. She always got everything. Meanwhile, she went out, sold the wolf pelt, and got her sisters clothes that they didn't really need.
Well, this is, again, when you're in the throes of somebody who is in this mental state, you do have to make a decision. Like, how long will you let this person destruct themselves and hurt you and cause cascading ripples of pain? And
before you protect yourself.
Right, exactly. So this is, I think, her final attempt.
Yeah.
So, Feyre seems, though, to have expected her to sort of just say, I'm never speaking to you again, and tells her she may speak with whomever she chooses in the confines of her rehab, but they will revisit everything in a few months. She can choose not to do any of this, but they are done paying for her to destroy herself. And that's fair and understandable.
Yeah,
and to be honest, she also could have probably said, then I'm going to go out into Valaris and get a
job. She could have gone and gotten a job.
Yeah, and they probably would have been like, fine. Like, that's your life. You do it. Nesta demands to speak with Elaine.
I love that that's not even an option. I love that it's like not even on the table.
She's never had a job.
I mean, you got to start somewhere. I feel like one of them would give her somebody. I mean, you start bagging groceries. Well, they don't have any groceries at the Faye grocery store?
I don't know. Do you think they have grocery baggers?
I mean, how do they? I guess maybe they like winnow at home. Yeah.
I don't know.
Or it's like, where is it, Germany, where they take all the packaging off before you take things home and you like can recycle it in the grocery stores. Then if not, you pay by the pound.
I don't know if it's. I know they do something like that in like Dutch communities, but I'm not sure. The Netherlands. So
they know what they're doing over there.
God, it's so beautiful. Nesta demands to speak with Elaine, but Feyre says that Elaine will decide when she's ready to talk to Nesta. In the core of her, Nesta is broken that Elaine chose Feyre in the past year.
Oh God, girl, we need to change this perspective.
It's true.
We got to get in there. We got to put some joy in that brain.
You got to get the victim mentality. You got to take accountability.
Yeah.
No matter that she pushed Elaine away, but Nesta's too lost in the sauce to really look at that reasonably. Feyre basically says, do you think I don't know why you pushed even Elaine away?
Nesta didn't bother replying, and Feyre didn't speak again as she departed. There was nothing to bind them together anymore.
I'm never talking to you again!
I hate you, get out of my life! Natalie and I have screamed at each other at least 4 times.
Have we?
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we've ever gotten into a fight.
Oh.
You're not gonna what? Oh no! All right, right now. Oh, what's my intervention, huh? Go ahead, send me away, Natalie.
Where do you want to go? Sandals?
Oh, please, yes. Send me to sandals. Oh, send me on like an Alaskan cruise with a chocolate fondue fountain.
I want to try a cruise someday, or a pleasure barge.
I mean, our family's been threatening a cruise for a couple of years, and I don't know.
I've never done it.
I don't know if we could handle, like, if a cruise could handle the entire Zabrowski family, like our extended family now.
I think it'd be fun to try.
I mean, we make a lot of friends. Just think of the fits.
Oh, man, I'm going to conga line it up.
Dude, we're going to be like Henry and I when we went on a cruise when we were in high school and everyone thought we were married because we would go and hit the dance floor every night. And then people and then like we realized there were lots of swingers at the club at night. And we got into, and then I was like, I'm 17. I'm scared. It's not my husband. We're just dancing.
Ugh. Well, that's traumatizing.
I mean, very nice couple. If you want to swing, that was the couple to do it with.
Oh, okay.
Man, cruises I think have a lot of swingers on them.
That's not why I wanted to try one out, but I guess that makes sense.
I just love the freedom in their eyes.
It's just such tiny rooms.
Yeah, but then you get the towel animals. Oh my God, you're gonna love the towel animals.
But I mean, having a group
foursome?
sex on a tiny little bed.
Yeah, that would be. Maybe they have a suite.
Ew. All right. Chapter 3, Cassian is sitting with Rhys in Rhys's home study. So it's a cut to just a little bit later. And it's described as, guess what? Magical and visually appealing. I can't say anything about Crescent City, I know, but something about the description of this room brought me right to something in those books.
There was the main floor of the study, bedecked in the hand-knotted blue carpets that Feyre had gone to César to select from its artisans, with its 2 sitting areas, Rhys's desk, and twin long tables near the bookshelves. At the far end of the room, a little dais led into a broad raised alcove flanked by more books, and in its center, a massive working model of their world, the stars and planets around it, and some other fancy things that had been explained to Cassian once before. He deemed them too boring and proceeded to ignore them completely.
Aww,
I see this like it has one of those, the inlaid living rooms, what do you call it? The nooks?
The sunken...
Yeah, like the sunken nook. That like in there it has like the magical like whole model of their world. And in my magic brain, it's all like turning around each other.
I think it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah, right?
That's
like
how I
floating
see it.
there. And then, like it's like something that you could like, I imagine like move around and like pull out and zoom into and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Dude, that's cool.
I know. Cassian describes the study as actually broken into 2 floors, so it's like an atrium, and then that part's on the ground. And there are massive bookcases with thousands of books.
Oh, and man. I want a library. I want so many books and so many bookshelves that I've got one of the book ladders. I think that's
I know.
right.
That would be
Everyone
so
wants a
fun.
book ladder, right?
Yes.
And then you just like swing from the book ladder as you go through. Like, I don't know what smut today I'm going to read.
I just always envision like being at the top, and then like Henry being like, I'd be like, yes. And I'm just like wearing tight pants. I'm like, oh, hi, I'm just looking for a book.
And then he's going, auga, auga, up at your ass.
Yeah.
Is it atonement? God damn it, this is all Pornhub. I think it is atonement. There is this sex scene on a library ladder that is between Keira Knightley and James McAvoy, which not 2 people that I would normally choose as like a hubba bubba, but the scene is a hubba bubba because again, it's exactly what you're saying, where she's just like, but you can't be in here. I'm looking for books. And like, it's just like one of those kind of things. And he like follows her in and just starts like, she's like holding the ladder and you see behind her, and then he starts like grabbing her on the outside, and they're not supposed to be in there, and they're not supposed to have sex with each other.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's crazy.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I don't see Keira Knightley in a sexual manner.
No, it's the smile. She always looks scared.
Yeah,
I feel like her smile, she looks scared. But maybe that's still like what I feel about her because of Love Actually. And I've seen that movie so many times. So that's more on me, I think, than anything.
No, I mean, I get it. That sounds like a good scene. And so amongst all of the bookcases and thousands of books, there's a number of objects that are set about in a particular manner that was intended to create, vibes.
Vibes.
Just want to start from Cassian.
Sure. Cassian's High Lady had a way of capturing the world that always made him pause. Her paintings sometimes unsettled him. The truths she portrayed weren't always pleasant ones. I love Cassian's like, can't just be nice. This is making me think too hard. Take that painting down.
Can you do a picture of a horse?
Because then I know it's a horse. And it's not like, oh, it's the demons you saw inside of the Ouroboros. It's like, oh, that's a horse.
Really sounds like Ed Larson.
Voice-wise, I think I could see him having similar. Actually, no, I imagine his voice is more grand, and
I like him sounding like Eddie. Not
so?
that fantasize him as Eddie.
I think that's why my problem is the second
no.
I said it, I'm like, no, I don't want him to sound like Eddie. I don't want him to sound like Eddie.
No. He goes on to note in his thoughts that he once found her painting an emaciated rib cage that he recognized as her own.
How did he recognize that it was her rib cage?
He said there was like a note, a birthmark that he knows.
Oh, on her bones.
On her bones. And that him seeing that seems to have formed a bond and connection between them in his mind. Not that he didn't already love her, but to share in the experience of starvation is a certain kind of bond, I'm certain. As he begins to address Rhys, he notes the giant self-portrait of Feyre that Rhys keeps behind him over his desk. Rhys told him once it was so that she could watch over him, which is cute. Rhys asks if...
I think that if I were in my own office, I want a big oil painting of me.
Well, sure.
I want me watching over me, and I'll just like point up at me and be like, "Hey, me." Like, what are you thinking? I think that's a great idea, Jackie. And that's totally, I can't wait to have, I want to sit for an oil painting someday.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Rhys asks him if Cassian's ready to handle Nesta. The two males are having a conversation that is both straightforward and also spoken with some things left between the lines. Rhys is watching Cassian as Cassian tells him he can handle a little human-turned-fae if he's trained legions of Illyrians before.
I mean, he ain't wrong.
He's not wrong, but also Rhys feels like, I think it maybe Rhys knows a little bit better and goes, okay.
But also I do feel, not that, of course, you're not going to have your errant soldiers, but for the most part, they are bred to listen and, to be an Illyrian. And Nesta isn't. This is not what she was made to be. So I think that there's also dealing with that.
I think also they don't have an ass that won't quit.
Yeah.
But he still acknowledges the work that Cassian's done in the war camps. He's saying, like, I'm not saying that you haven't accomplished all these things, but this might be a little different.
Might be difficult.
He's especially after the post-war stuff, reorganizing and keeping the troops in line. He's done this really good job in Rhys's mind. Here, there is a mention of the blood right, something we've learned about before. Cassian reflects on the blood right, which claims the lives of many Illyrians each time. There's a little bit of fable-like reasoning here that the worst and most foolhardy get themselves killed, which is what happened in the blood right. The ones that Cassian was the most worried about, the Illyrians rising up for some sense of self-importance masked in righteousness, were never equipped to be warriors and met their demise on their own. And sometimes it's all you can do is let them hang themselves. Mm-hmm. But Rhys wants to talk about more than Nesta at this meeting. He tells Cassian that he's selling himself short and that he wants him to take on a bigger role in the court.
Aww.
That he's ready for it. Not that this handling of Nesta is part of the bigger role. Rhys has other ideas about where Cassian can put his skills to use. But in this moment...
Hubba.
Well, I don't know if he meant that, but maybe.
Oh, man, but I will look at the fanfic of it.
Of course. So beyond that, Rhys wants to know if he's ready to face whatever power is hiding in Nesta. Not because she'll kill him or anything, or he's worried about that, but because whatever lies beneath the surface will almost certainly rise during this rehabilitation, and Cassian will be on the front lines for it. Cassian challenges Rhys. You sound like you're afraid of her. I am.
Cassian blinked. Rhys lifted a brow.
Why do you think I sent you to get her this morning?
Cassian shook his head, unable to help his laugh. Rhys smiled, lacing his fingers behind his head and leaning back in his seat. I mean, he ain't wrong. I'd be scared, especially, like, not only that, but you're also her brother-in-law. So, like, you don't, like, he's doing such a great job of towing the line of, like, okay, I'm your High Lord, but I'm also your brother-in-law. So this is, like, gets a little dicey here. You've never been in that situation, right, Natalie?
Nope.
Never, ever for once.
Never, ever.
It's a tightrope.
It is. It really is. It's tricky. So Rhys is, again, trying to get right in the middle of that line. And now they're back to brotherly teasing. And Cass tells Rhys he needs to get back to training so Feyre won't find any soft parts on his body. He's basically like, you're being lazy, Rhys. You better get back and train with me because we don't want your mate to find any jiggly parts. And Rhys says she doesn't ever because I always got a boner around her.
I mean, I imagine he is always hard, right?
Pretty much, I think.
Yeah.
Then Rhys says that he's clearing out the servants that day to make up with Feyre for interfering with Nesta that morning, and he needs the house to himself for it. Cassian laughs, but inside he also feels a pang of jealousy. He's so happy for his brother and cherishes the joy he sees on his face, but deep down it's something he's longed for centuries for himself. Cassian tells Rhys to enjoy his makeup time with Feyre and begins to leave when Rhys stops him. You haven't asked about what the bigger role is, Cassian. And Cassian's like, oh, yeah,
that role,
right,
yeah.
the bigger role. Totally forgot about it. And it's clear that Cassian doesn't really want this. Probably not because he feels burdened, but more like he feels he's not good enough, which is like his MO. Rhys can see through this, though. He tells him straight. He needs Cassian to help Az in dealing with the human queens, be an emissary of sorts, a courtier, and a spy.
Ooh, he's going to be wearing jodhpurs. I'm into jodhpurs.
What's a jodhpur?
Jodhpurs are those poochy pants that, like, have a little, like, strap and then it, like, pooches them up. Lord Licorice wears jodhpurs.
Oh, okay, Lord Licorice pants. Got it. Why would he be wearing those?
Because he's a courtier now.
Okay.
So I imagine you see these jodhpurs.
Okay, so he's wearing them because he's a courtier. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
And I just imagine, like, how, like, it would be, like, tied up around his ass, and so you could just still see, like, his ass bulging as he does his emissary jobs.
Sure. And then he makes, like, people's attention go to his ass, and then he can get
whatever he
secrets.
wants. I'd give him whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, you want to know things? You don't even have to torture me. Just bend over. I'm sorry, that's horrible. That's horrible. I would ask his consent first. Do you consent to bending over so I may stare at your ass?
Cassian doesn't like this idea, but Rhys pushes him. You don't have to be Az or Morgan or me. You can be Cassian and also fill this role. Cassian's not sure what to do with this request from his High Lord. He was already all up in his nerves about dealing with Nesta, but he can tell Rhys really actually needs him. He swears in his head as he walks out of Rhys's office. Out loud, he says, "We're in for a long few months then."
He was almost to the door when Rhys said quietly,
"You certainly are."
Oh, man. But he's up for the task. He can do this. But, you know,
he just doesn't have the confidence, but he does. I think he doesn't mind doing it. I think he's just like, I can't do that.
I know.
And Rhys is like, yes, you can. I believe in you.
Because for like so many years, especially being trained as an Illyrian, and being a bastard, he's just been told that he's shit. So much of it, and like so many of the formative years, even though technically you're like, Cassian, that was a really long time ago, but like it's still your formative years. That shit still sits in there.
And it sucks to know if you're 500, you're still like, but that thing in my teens.
Oh, God.
Never leaves.
Oh, God.
Never goes away.
I wonder if they like have a catalog memory. Like, I wonder if they also like just randomly think about things, or like can they always remember everything?
I don't know.
I wonder how their memories work.
Sarah,
let us know.
Then we have a cut back to the foyer of the river home where Feyre and Nesta have been, I assume, awkwardly awaiting Cassian quietly without speaking to return to take Nesta up to the House of Wind. So, you know, Feyre and I guess Nesta are just sort of like both in the same room, just sort of going like
uncomfortable.
Because of course, you know, with these 10,000 steps, Nesta can't walk up the House of Wind. They have to wait for somebody to take them. And you can't even winnow all the way in. You have to fly to a certain point and then, or winnow to a certain point and then kind of like drop in.
Well, they got to be safe.
Yeah, there's a bunch of wards over it. Anyway, Nesta hasn't fled into the street while Cassian was meeting with Rhys, so I guess that's a good sign.
Man, can you also realize, like, I'm sure what's going through her head where she's like, is there any way out of this? Can I do anything else? And then, like, that realization of, like, I really actually have no other choice. And that just, like, resignation, it hurts.
I would also add, though, a caveat of maybe there is a tiny fraction of her that feels relieved.
Yes, to be taken care of.
Yeah, that really doesn't want to be like this and doesn't really want to leave, but she can't admit it to herself.
Yeah, which is why I think she doesn't leave. I think if she had left, then it would have been like, okay, there's no part of her that wants this life at all.
Right.
But obviously, she's intrigued.
There's some part of her that's staying and waiting. Then in that moment, Cassian just, as he's like preparing to like deal with all of the stuff and they're about to leave, he's thinking about how Rhys and Feyre are about to have insanely loud sex and how he wanted to be as far away from possible before then. He's actually thinking about how loud Rhys is when you know.
Cassian stopped himself before he could finish the thought. He and his brothers had put a good deal of distance between the stupid youths they'd been, fucking any female who showed interest, often in the same room as each other, and the males they were now. He wanted to keep it that way. Well, then wouldn't he know how loud Rhys was when he came? If they're stupping in the same room, he definitely knows how loud he roars when he comes. Don't you give me that. Unless you're telling me Rhys never came any of those times.
No, I think he's saying he does know how loud Rhys
okay.
gets, and
Yeah,
that's why
yeah.
he wants to get the fuck out.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Cassian asks if Feyre...
But man, there's got to be where are those pictures?
I know, I haven't seen any of that fan art. Cassian asks if Feyre is winnowing them to the edge of the House of Wind. He doesn't directly say it, but I think he is insinuating that neither he nor Nesta could stand to fly all the way there alone together. Then the Morrigan appears behind him and says, she's doing it, with a knowing smirk on her face. We haven't gotten any of Mor yet in this book, and Cassian is thrilled to see her, folds her into his arms in a big bear hug. We learn that Mor has been away at Valahan, trying to keep an eye on the territories. Oh!
What's the pointer?
Valahan is
Oh,
way
it's
up
far.
here. So they're over here.
It's far
And
away.
then she is over here because we've learned a little bit from Frost and Starlight that he was needing Morrigan to go kind of just gauge how all of the other territories were handling the post-war, because they're trying to put this treaty together to try to make like peace with the humans where they don't have to put a wall up protecting them, but like they agree to leave the humans alone for ABCD reasons. And
But it's
so
difficult because these queens are bitches.
they are. And also, we don't know just yet, but Morris come back with like maybe not the best news about Valahan either. And we don't really know any Valahalians at this point. So this is all just through their eyes. And so when he asks her what's wrong, she kind of just brushes him off and tells him they'll talk about it later. Through all of this, Nesta is just ice queening it up. But she's so pissed that Moore's here being all hot and hugging on everybody.
Oh, yes.
And Moore just loves it, planting a huge grin on her face at Nesta. Feyre steps in before there's another fight and tells Nesta she can just spend the rest of the day and evening preparing for tomorrow and her first day at Windhaven. Nesta remains silent, but Moore offhandedly congratulates Cassian on being promoted to courtier, kind of teasing him, as presumably Rhys has already spoken with her about it.
Jodhpurs.
And Feyre laughs because Moore is kind of doing the little, tease thing. But Nesta looks at Cassian with surprise and suspicion.
He said to her, if only to beat her to it.
Still a bastard-born nobody, don't worry.
Nesta's lips thinned.
Poor Cassian.
Oh, that he has to say these things about himself just so that no one else, he has to protect himself. That's what he does.
It's so sad.
So he gets on the defensive. And it makes me so sad for him.
It does. Feyre gently tells Nesta that they'll talk soon, but Nesta already seems to be at the... I was really tired when I wrote the script.
I like what you put into the script.
I just wrote... But Nesta already seems to be at the never talking to you again store.
She showed up. She is queen of the never talking to you again store. It's like the containment store, container store, but it's the containment store. Come on.
I think I was really, really tired when I was writing this. Okay.
I like it.
Moore, being petty, pleasantly asks, "Shall we?" and offers either elbow to Cassian and Nesta.
Nesta stepped past her, grabbed Moore's forearm, and watched a spot on the wall. So he merely took Moore's other arm and winked at Feyre before they all vanished into wind and darkness.
We cut to Nesta's POV as they reach the other end of the winnow, right above the House of Wind.
Before the stomach-dropping plunge could register, Nesta was in Cassian's arms, his wings spread, as he flew toward the stone veranda. It had been a long while since she'd been held by him, since she'd seen the city so small below.
So even though Cassian didn't fully admit it earlier, Nesta realizes then that he could have flown them both up the whole way. And she, in her thoughts, thinks she would rather have dropped from the sky into the sea than Stomach being in his arms for that long.
Can you imagine being in someone's arms as he flies you away?
I have imagined it a time or two in the past couple years.
Yes, it would be so amazing. I'd feel so safe and I'd feel so small.
But I want my own wing. I want wings.
Sure. I have my wings. I can fly wherever I want, but also being held by those big arms flying through the air.
That was like the
I never
end
dreamed of it. No.
At the end of Wings and Ruin when Rhys picks Feyre up and then like throws her. It's just like, you fly!
Figure it out. I mean, she does.
She does. So after the wind, they get to there and Cassian has her and holds her. The drop only takes a matter of seconds and she pushes off from him the second her feet hit the ground. Nesta thinks back to the last time she spent time here in the House of Wind, and it was right after the horrors of being changed over in the cauldron when Feyre was doing an espionage in the Spring Court. So if you recall, right after they turned Fae, they were brought back to the House of Wind to sort of recuperate and figure themselves out while Feyre was gone. And Nesta and Elaine were coping with the trauma of everything that had just taken place. She recalls barely being able to sleep because she was so afraid that Elaine would jump out of a window. Because who could live without Grayson?
Oh my God. I bet he uggo.
I bet he's just plain.
Boring. Yeah, I bet it's just plain.
Yeah.
He just looks like a
He looks like an
man.
emoji. That's
yeah.
what the man emoji.
Yes.
Nesta reveals here in her thoughts that one of the reasons she stopped speaking to Feyre was because she was so scared of what may come out of her. So in that moment when she said, I'm never speaking to you again, it was partly because she was worried she would hurt Feyre, like with her powers.
Yeah.
Cassian leans against the railing, looking at Nesta with a distance between them, and Nesta stares right back. Finally, Cassian says that she'll be staying in her old room and that he'll be a floor above. Why would I need to know that?
The words snapped out of her. He began walking toward the glass doors that led into the mountain's interior.
In case you have a bad dream and need someone to read you a story.
He drawled, a half smile dancing on his face.
Maybe one of those smutty books you like so much. Ooh, girl. Nesta doesn't give him an inch.
Man, just the way his game unfolds in this book, like everything, I'm just like, melt, melt. Please come read me smut, Cassian.
She follows behind him, even though she doesn't really respond to that, if only to get out of the cold that seeped into her on this balcony so high up in the mountain. I believe the very same balcony where Feyre would land and finally meet her future family all those months ago. Nesta looks around the place, but she can't bring herself to call it home in her thoughts.
Well, you just got there, girl. Give it a second.
She reveals in her mind here that she never thought of anywhere as home before, even back before her father lost his fortune.
Home was a foreign word.
Even so, she knew this place pretty well now due to her time spent living here. She won't admit it to herself, but she kind of is relieved she gets her old room back because there's a small private library right near it on the same floor.
Boo-hoo. It's so hard.
It's almost as if, I don't know, people are being considerate of her hopes and needs.
With your own private library on your floor, it's also, I mean, I know she's been through a lot. She's had a lot of trauma. I get it. But like, your basic needs are at least taken care of, you know? And they always have been.
I'd go a step beyond basic needs.
I mean, this is way beyond, but I'm just saying, like, her basic needs have always been taken care of by other people.
Which I guess maybe is partly her self-loathing and rage is like, I've never
truly been able to take care of myself.
Yeah, and was sort of encouraged not to growing up.
Then let them teach you how! Girl! I know. Oh, what is that? What this whole book is about? Yeah.
Yeah, what if she was just like, okay, and then the book was over? Like, oh, man, that's a...
The rest of it is just like
paperwork.
Yeah, just paperwork.
But back then when she was first here healing, she thinks she might not have been crushing it at the time, but she did enjoy her time in the library, reading romance after romance novel. She wasn't necessarily coping or finding her place, but she'd been the level-headed one and Elaine was the mess. And now it seems the roles are reversed.
Well, I don't know if she's Elaine is level-headed quite yet.
No, but she has figured out a place.
Yes. And she has created a boundary between her and Nesta, which guffaw.
Dark thoughts roll through Nesta's head of the war, the king, her father dying, the thousands of warriors she had to let die just to save the one.
Him. She would do it again, if forced to. And knowing that, she couldn't bear that truth either.
So we get this peek into Nesta's psyche. Know that she is full of care and love and protectiveness, but when we're with Cass and his thoughts, we just aren't sure if she can make it out of this. She tells Cassian she doesn't need an escort to her room.
And he goes, "Leave from here."
And he goads her, and then adds that Azriel will also be here from time to time. He's here to spy on me.
Her words bounced off the red stone. Cassian said tightly,
He said he'd rather stay up here than at the river house. But he continues that when he's here, he'll mostly stay to himself, so it will be predominantly just Nesta and Cassian here.
Oh. She didn't dare reply. Not to all that statement implied. Alone with Cassian. Here.
She reached for something to hurt him with, something inside, because that's all she knows how to do when somebody makes her feel vulnerable. Try to find some barb. He watches her, already preparing himself for it, which is so sad. He says, "Let's hear it, Ness." She snaps at him not to call her Ness.
Anything she can think of, like, don't do that.
It's very funny. Just realized that's also what they call Renesmee.
Renesmee in Twilight. I wasn't going to bring up Twilight. I was proud of myself that I wasn't going to bring up Twilight.
Ugh. He tells her to get food in her belly for training at Windhaven the following day. She tells him she's never going to that horrible place. And she's being honest. She hated that place when she first laid eyes on it before that final battle. Nesta thinks for a moment about calling all their bluffs and demanding to be taken to the mortal realm. But she knows in that same instant she'd never have anywhere to go, nor would she really want to be there.
Yeah.
Even
you'll never be accepted there. At least in this place, there's like a good chance you'll be accepted.
Yeah, because like she didn't feel accepted there either. And she thinks about how even Elaine, who had grieved too deeply for old Boros Snorro, figured out how to blend in here, made friends, found passions. She feels her rage emptying out into something worse. Nothing. "I'm tired," she says. Cassian seems to clock her defeat and gently tells her to take the night to rest. She can't fight anymore. She walks through the doorway and shuts the door in Cassian's face. She looks at the familiar setting.
The wide space easily accommodated a mammoth 4-poster bed against the wall to her left, as well as a small sitting area to her right, complete with a sofa and 2 chairs. A carved marble fireplace occupied the wall before the sitting area, mercifully dark, and multiple rugs lay scattered throughout, offering reprieve from the chilly stone floors.
But what Nesta had always found, I know. I was like doing a little dance while you were talking.
Take me there, I wanna go there. Take me there, let's go there. It's a Rugrats song. Take me to that place where the fun never ends. Rugrats song.
That sounds like the very, very deep cut Nickelodeon show Roundhouse. I thought that's what the song was.
Whoa, no, this is the song for the Rugrats movie that they also had the or was it? Yeah, and then they had the like
The old one, like
yeah,
with the Reptar plot line.
Yeah, I'm old.
Well, not me. Definitely not me. But what Ness had always found appealing about this space is the wide bank of windows that gave her a stunning view of the city and sea beyond it.
Come on, can you imagine sitting in front of a marble fireplace with your little private library overlooking just majesty?
Being really sad.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great room to be sad in,
wallow?
dude.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. What a wall. Actually, I think I would hate all the windows in a wallow room. I'd be like, draw the curtains.
Well, she does do that in this moment.
Yeah.
Before that, she stares now at everything in the room, unable to move, really even to think straight.
A familiar roaring built in her ears.
She feels out of body as she shuts the curtains, cloaking the room in blackness.
She barely managed to toe off her shoes before she slid beneath the layers of white down blankets and quilts, closed her eyes, and breathed, and breathed, and breathed.
So that's where she is. She's going, she's breathing, and
time,
she is
man.
laying.
Yeah, she is having a rough go about it. Because it's also, as someone that has been through many years of anger, it's tiring to be that angry. Mm-hmm. It really is. Like, you don't realize how much it weighs on you to have that front up all the time, to be that defensive all the time. It takes everything out of you that you kind of like almost forget who the you on the inside is, which is why I love being inside of her brain so much.
Yeah, and I think also there is an element of whenever you are so overwhelmed with storing emotion and not knowing what to do with the pain that does happen sometimes, where you emotionally shut down and you just sort of exist, and you're like, okay,
become the nothing.
I can't do this, so I'm just gonna. And there's nowhere to place that, especially in moments like this. So she's gonna. I don't know what's gonna happen.
What's gonna happen? You're gonna have to wait.
Or you can just read it. But
yeah,
if you want to read along, you're gonna have to wait.
And I'm excited.